There we go. Patrick loves to do that to me, like, right when I'm in the middle of my opening. He just loves to make me crazy. I'll be going through some deep, intense thought, and he'll say, "This meeting is being recorded." I think Patrick takes a perverse pleasure in doing that to me. Don't you, Patrick?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Uh-huh. You keep pleading the fifth on that, buddy. So, all right. Well, we're going to get into it tonight, and tonight we're going to talk about what our coordinators do. A lot of what you're going to see tonight is gleaned together from what many of our best coordinators do. And our job description really doesn't have a whole lot to it. It's a very basic description, and we'll go through that, but we'll go through some other things that we do as part of the runners of these various local programs. So, for those of you who are looking at this, and this is where we get into it, I have about 3 or 4 different audiences I'm targeting tonight. The first audience are our general CERT members. And within that group, there are a couple of groups that I'm targeting. With our general CERT members, every CERT member should be knowledgeable as to how this team operates. I think if you were knowledgeable about what we do on a regular basis, there would be a lot more appreciation. And I'm not saying people don't appreciate it, but you will appreciate what we go through to put on the exercises, meetings, seminars, all that kind of stuff we do, and how much time is really put into it. The second group are members who are looking at being coordinators. You guys need to know what this job really takes, and it really is a job. I look at it that way, but other people may see it differently. You need to know. You would never walk into a position at some big company and say, "Hey, I'll take that job," without ever knowing what's going on with it. What does it entail? How many hours? How much do I get paid? At least you know at this job you don't get paid. So the third group is our call out team. Call out team, you guys need to be aware how you interface with the coordinators of our various battalion areas. And the beauty for you guys is that many of your coordinators are already members of the call out team. But as you know, you guys routinely get called out to especially outreach opportunities. You guys find yourself working a lot of those tables. You guys will find out, I think, where you kind of fit into all of that. You guys are definitely a critical part of it. And finally, our coordinators. It's amazing what we do on a big level. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring up. I'm going to share my screen, and of course, it looks different every time I see it. Let's see. Mute notifications while sharing. Not
Hey,
okay.
Chin, you want to make me a co-host just in case I need to mute anybody who's making noises during your presentation?
You got it. I actually will make you a co-host just in case, and I probably should have emailed you the presentation just in case I have issues with it. Getting it up on screen. I did a presentation recently at CBS, and I couldn't get the darn thing to come up. And I'm like, holy crap! So I had to have somebody on that end actually run the presentation. So, all right, all right. My browser is preventing access to my share screen. Hold on. Okay. Allow. Okay. Let's see if you guys can see this. Can you see this on my screen?
We can see your Zoom
Yes.
session in a
Tonight's
browser.
presentation? Outstanding.
Well,
All right.
we see your Zoom session in a browser.
Yes.
We don't see the presentation.
You don't see the presentation? All right. Patrick, what's up with all these engineer types? They love to change things.
Uh, Problem lies between keyboard and chair.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Funny Guy. Let's see here. You see it?
See a blank screen.
For the love of Christmas.
Give it a second. It's still starting to share.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
fine.
is it?
It's thinking about it.
Yeah. Seems like I'm always screwing around with Zoom for some reason. You guys see anything?
No, sir.
No, it looks like something's blocking it.
Hey Patrick, can I shoot it? Can I
No.
shoot
You're
it over to you? And
sharing Firefox. Are you sharing your screen or are you sharing a particular window?
I want to do my screen. Hold on. Let me hit this one. Let's see if we can do this. You see that?
Those you started.
No, it's actually just coming as an LAFD Cert South B has started screen sharing. So,
Yeah, it
and
just
it's just
takes
a
a
black
minute.
background.
Damn.
It's starting to share. It's taking longer than it should, but
You think it's starting to share?
Mike Diaz says he can see it.
No,
But don't
well,
know what he's
he's
seeing.
lucky because I can't.
just give it a second here.
Okay. Wow, Patrick, I'll
Sorry,
be
I'm
editing.
late.
Oh,
There it
yes, that's it. There it is. Okay.
Where it says tonight's presentation will start shortly.
Yes.
Thank God.
In the next half hour?
Yeah, really. I'm kind of like, holy crap. All right.
Okay. I'm muting
Good
Please,
evening,
please tell me
everyone.
there aren't videos in here because your internet's
There
not.
aren't videos in here.
Okay.
I
There
think
are
I
no
think
videos.
the first slide needs to say "Please stand by."
And with the cat and his hand over his paw over the camera lens. But yeah, okay, we're here. I'm not going to argue with it. So a good evening to everybody. What a coordinator actually does, and we finally got here. So with no help from Patrick. Just kidding. All right, we're going to go into a series of slides just that'll give you an idea, and I've broken them up into like several sections. So we'll get into it. I will ask that everyone hold back on comments because we want to get through this in a reasonable amount of time, being that it took us about 7 minutes just to get in here. But also, if you hold back, you might have questions that you have that might be in your mind. Those questions will be answered at some point during the presentation. If not, save them for the Q&A and then we can talk about it. But we can blow through this because there's a lot of important stuff in here that we need to talk about. So let's kick it off. So the agenda tonight, we'll just give you a quick view of what LA City CERT looks like with our bureau teams and battalion teams. Most of you already know this, but it doesn't hurt to always talk about it. Showing us as liaisons to the LAFD CERT unit and LAFD Department Command. That's some of the areas we fit into. We're links to the community, organizations, and adjacent agencies like the EMD and others. We are chief programming officers. We are the ones who come up with a lot of the great programming you guys get, which includes those great meetings with subject matter experts, those exercises that appear in your neighborhood, etc. We are facilitators of the basic training CERT classes and activities. And we're mentors and development specialists. And that's another critical area that goes back to the leadership aspect we were talking about. So we'll touch on those things. But I want to start off with some basic stuff here. The purpose of the presentation is to familiarize you with community emergency response team members as a whole, with the roles we play and the effect it has. That's the main gist of this entire presentation. I'm going to kind of move on from that because it's you can read that. It's jibber jabber. For me, for those of you who know me well, everything is kind of long term in my own life. 54 years of living in the same community, and I am 54 years old, so that's pretty impressive. 35 years of working in TV and film, with 33 years with one company. 30 years of driving the same car. That's got to be scary. You ought to see the brakes on that baby. 12 years as president of my own neighborhood association, 10 years of being on a neighborhood council as their public safety liaison, and hitting up on 10 years as a coordinator here in CERT. So I'm a big, you might call me boring, but I'm a big long-term relationship kind of guy. So aside from myself, obviously, we do have a coordinator team, and I'm going to introduce you to our 4 bureau coordinators. Christy, I love that picture. That's why I pull it all the time. Love that picture. It's like that hand is too funny. Christy Adair, of course, our Operation Valley Bureau Coordinator. Carl Ginsberg, our Operation West Bureau Coordinator. And of course, the aforementioned Patrick Botts Forbes, who runs our Central Bureau area. We are the bureau coordinators who make this thing go. Our job, I think I describe it as is really supposed to be kind of a 10,000 foot type thing where we work on, large projects, but more importantly, we support our bureau coordinators in their operations that affect you guys every day. Christy, you got any other thoughts on our gig outside of that?
So many, too many, too many.
Ah, well, okay, then I'll assume you'll go with it. Patrick, do you have anything you want to add to that?
You said we support our bureau coordinators. You mean our battalion coordinators? of
I
course.
meant to say our battalion coordinators.
But I think we also support each other. A lot of us will travel to other bureaus to support, say when Christy's putting something on in the valley, or one of her battalion coordinators is putting something on in the valley, we'll go and support them. If someone in West Bureau is putting something on, or South Bureau, we'll cross boundaries, go to other parts of the city to support other bureau and battalion coordinators, or CERT neighborhood team leaders who want to put something on.
And I
I would
think
say
that's oh, Christy.
I was going to say, when I first became battalion coordinator, we really went to each other's quarterly meetings. Nobody had monthly meetings when I started. It was all quarterly meetings, and we really made it a point to learn from each other and support each other. And it really made my being a first-time coordinator helped. So it's learn from each other. Like at work, I put my people together and let them work out problems together, and then escalations come to me. And it's kind of, we're there to support the coordinators. So we need to have that communication back and forth. But as a new coordinator, look around. There's people who've been doing it a long time that can help you and support you. And it's some of the best people I know are on the LAFD battalion coordinators roster.
And that's really good. Christy, do you think, and Patrick, do you think that in the last few years, because it feels like that crossing into other areas or just supporting each other, it seemed like it kind of leveled off for a while and we didn't do it. And it seems like we're kind of rolling back into that. Are you guys seeing that as I've seen it?
I think things trickled down when I was Battalion 10 coordinator and Paul Shively was the bureau coordinator. At that time, the bureau coordinators of that rank, it was like Valley Bureau is the best, no, South Bureau is the best, Central Bureau is the best. It was very competitive. And so we really kept to our boundaries. And that started softening a little bit with the next generation of bureau coordinators. And then COVID really just opened up all the borders, and we became one city CERT team for different reasons. But now that we're out of COVID, I still feel like those borders have softened so much, and we really are one city CERT team more than ever. And I see people from, like Jose will come into the Valley meetings, and I'll go into the Battalion 9's meetings, we really do support each other. And then I go and I see other people from the Valley in the Palisades pictures, so it's really nice that not only are the battalion coordinators and the call out teams crossing borders, but the CERT members themselves are looking at the calendars and saying, hey, I want to learn more about that. And they're going to the meetings. So that's very encouraging.
And that's a good thing. And I think you're very much right that COVID really shook us up in that we had to become again a one city team, which is something we always have been, but we didn't always have that thinking in our mind. And it is very heartening to see all of us go into each other's bureaus and support each other, and we do that on a very regular basis. So that's just kind of a look, folks, at least this tier of the support unit and the coordinator unit. You've got coordinators that are in all of these various areas. Choose your areas. There are basically 14 battalions in the city of Los Angeles, with most areas, with the exception of Valley, all of the other areas, with the exception of Valley, have 3 battalions each. Like, for instance, in South Bureau, it's battalions 18, 13, and 6. In West Bureau, you got battalions 4, 5, and 9, etc. Now, with Valley Bureau, Christie's got the biggest job out there and the biggest piece of real estate out there. She's got 5 battalions out there and a whole lot of area to manage out there. So that I know gets to be a little bit hairy, but she manages to make it happen along with the help that she gets from her battalion coordinators. So keep that in mind. This is a photo from one of our previous bureau and battalion coordinator meetings at Frank Hotchkin. In case you guys didn't know, all of us get together. It's supposed to be like every other month. Right now, since COVID, it's been a little bit erratic and changes with command, etc. But previous to COVID, we would get together, and I think with Captain Wire Eater at that time, it was monthly actually. We would get together in one room, share what we're doing in our areas, talk about our concerns, talk about what support we need, et cetera, et cetera. If you look at this photograph, it's pretty impressive. Again, pre-COVID. If you look at this picture, we've lost a few people, and it's a pretty decent number of people that we've lost. During COVID, a lot of people felt that they had aged out of the program, or they lost interest, they lost steam. Sometimes when you get, when your operation gets shut down, you just lose steam and you can't come back from that. So right now we're in the process of rebuilding. Some battalions more than others need extra help and a little bit of an extra kick getting back into the groove of things, and it will take time. So this presentation is kind of timely because I'm sure several people who are here with us tonight have probably been approached about being coordinators of some of those various areas. Pretty impressive picture though, pre-COVID. That's a pretty good looking bunch, I'd have to say, out there. And again, up front is our previous captain, Captain Cody Wire Eater. So where does it all start? Where does it all start? Starts in the neighborhood, silly. You guys will probably remember this from All About Call Out if you sat through that, the most recent one. It starts with you folks being members and engaged with your area neighborhood teams. It starts way down on the neighborhood level, the block level, your battalion level. If you are a member out there, Paul Shively said this great, and he said this in response to a Facebook post that was talking about some things. And I saw it and I literally grabbed it right off the page, and I've been using it ever since. I try to remember to credit Paul so he can get his residuals. But just joking. But let's go through this. For anyone that wants to be a part of the CERT team, become known as a participant. How do you do that? Show yourself off by dressing appropriately at each event. That means well, I'll go through it and then I'll come back over it. It makes sense to keep the continuity going. Arrive early at training events. Assist with setting up and offer assistance where needed. Be an active participant during training sessions. Demonstrate your leadership level skills via your conduct and your attitude. And big, offer suggestions instead of sitting there complaining about what you don't like or whatever it is. Bring a solution to that. How are you going to help make it better if it's not looking good? Take an active role in developing a neighborhood team around your home area. And by demonstrating these skills listed above, you become visible and valuable. Like call out, promotions or appointments to battalion coordinators really come through your existing coordinators and your bureau coordinators. If you're thinking out there, oh, I want to be a coordinator, who do I call? The captain? Do I call the LAFD? Do I call? No. Make yourself known to your existing battalion coordinators and your bureau coordinators. Let's say you have, like Christy is handling right now, Battalion 10, because we're looking for a coordinator there. Make sure you let her know who you are, and make sure she knows that you're an active part of that. Did I hear one of my colleagues wanting to make a comment there?
No,
All
but I
righty.
will. It's also Battalion 14, 10 and 14. I think we have earmarked 2 people for Battalion 10 who
Mhm,
may or may not be on this call.
mhm.
But I am still looking for 1 or 2 people in Battalion 14 to step up.
There you go. There you go.
And
And in
Battalion 1.
and you've got Battalion 1 over there,
Yeah,
and
it's a good one.
Anything else, Patrick? It's like, could probably use a little help over in Battalion 11 too. Just saying. But let's go into analysis of this little thing. Let's take it apart just a little bit. Showing yourself off by dressing appropriately at each event. There is a uniform type code for rank and file members of CERT. And in many cases, you guys, even just as casual as rank and file members, if you're going to work an outreach booth or something like that, you need to have that uniform, which is just the basic CERT shirt, the black pants, the boots, and the general CERT shirt, the general national CERT T-shirt with your vest. Make sure you have that, because I will tell you very short. The LAFD and even your neighbors, they kind of give you a little bit more credence when they see you looking more professional and looking as a group out there. I know we've seen pictures of other CERT programs where everybody's wearing, t-shirts and, my Megadeth t-shirt over my Bermuda shorts, over my sneakers with a CERT vest. If I come to your door at 3 o'clock in the morning, I guarantee you're not giving me the time of day. But also, dressing appropriately also means coming with all your PPEs and your gear. That's another part of addressing appropriately. So make sure you keep that in mind. Arrive early at training events, assist with setting up and offering assistance. You have no idea how intense it can get trying to set up an event the morning of. And it can be a small event, it can be a big event. We can always use your help. I think a lot of people sometimes think that these events put themselves on because they come in right on time, then they leave right after we say, okay, we're done. Come and help us set up, come and help us break down. Be an active participant, again, be engaged. Be engaged, and that comes with being engaged with your neighborhood team. Demonstrate your leadership skills, you know, see how you can help. See how you can help. And in terms of leadership, work with your battalion coordinator or the coordinator who's doing it to see how you can help, because sometimes people think demonstrating leadership level is overtaking everybody who's there and putting your version of what you think CERT is on the table. Not necessarily that. Offer suggestions instead of complaining. We've already talked about that. And again, this is key. Take a role in trying to develop your neighborhood team. I know that's difficult. Um, and we talk about it all the time among ourselves. We had a long conversation about it last night on another matter. Um, but get active in your neighborhood. Start with the people you can talk to, and then work with your battalion coordinator or your bureau coordinator to try to set some things up. We can give you that support. So, and that's what we're there for. So, and way down my comment down there is be sincere in your efforts. Don't do it for show. Do it because you want to. Just saying. And that is our motto. That is the CERT motto, doing the greatest good for the greatest number. This is a different type of volunteering, in my opinion, and I think Christy and Patrick will probably agree with it. Um, when it comes to volunteering, we sometimes think that volunteering is, well, I'll do, Thursdays from 1 to 4 at the homeless shelter, or I'll do, something that has a set time where you're actually doing a set time and a set day. This type of volunteering, it's like you're doing it quite a lot. You're doing it quite a lot, especially if you're very active. So if you have issues about, oh, I want to do this only between 10 and 4 or whatever it is, you might want to rethink that. That's just me talking out loud. Anybody else got comments out there?
I think CERT is almost a way of life. It's changing your mindset. We especially in Los Angeles are used to the professional first responders services being available 24/7 within 5 minutes of us calling. We're used to 80-degree days in the middle of December. We're used to, maybe fires on the outskirts of the city, but generally no disasters here, versus the rest of the country gets seasonal disasters. And it's some of us realizing it's only a matter of time before something really bad happens. And those of us on the call who were here for Northridge know that, what really bad could be, or at least moderately uncomfortable. And those who have come from other parts of the country where they fled from those seasonal hurricane seasons, blizzard seasons, they know that thinking about what if and how do I prepare, it's just the change in mindset. And unfortunately, most of our neighbors here are going to be completely caught off guard, as we saw at the beginning of COVID.
And I want to say the recent storm that came through here. You remember the one back in October or whatever it was that came off of the hurricane that was in Mexico. We spent days trying to get up to speed on that, and we got very lucky. Nothing really happened. Nothing big happened. We did get a month's worth of rain in like a day, which was bad enough. But even when you looked at it, we were still caught with our pants around our ankles. People were out in the driving range still trying to get sand. Christy called me the day before, telling me that people were out at Fire Station 88, just losing their mind and taking every bit of sand they had. Guess what? We were warned about that storm several days before, and we were still caught with our pants down. And then on the other side of that, everybody started complaining, well, it's like I did all that preparation and nothing happened. Thank the Lord nothing happened, because it would be not that great. So think about it. It is a different kind of volunteering, and I will add on to Patrick, it can be very difficult. It can be difficult, but it is a great mission. So, just a few thoughts there. And as much as I like to pick on Patrick, I have to quote him. One of the things that one of the concepts that he put out, which was very right, was that in terms of us looking at our coordinators, again, I started off with the comment, but it really is his comment, that we tend to look and find the most active members in our group and say, you know what, you should be a coordinator. I think we're slowly rethinking that, because as Patrick said, being active does not equate to being a leader of a team, or any leader of a neighborhood team, a battalion team, or a bureau team. Patrick, do you want to kind of take that?
It's endemic in CERT in general. So few people are community emergency response team trained, go to meetings, participate, come out, and really, drink the Kool-Aid. So oftentimes, and we've seen it as bureau coordinators, but I've heard about it from other parts of the country as well. Oftentimes they ask, well, what's it take to be a leader? And the joke is you show up. And that is never the way it should be. But oftentimes when you're desperate to find someone, anyone who can take that leadership spot, we have a really bad habit of saying, oh, someone showed up, let's make them a coordinator. And they have no idea what that means. And they're completely caught off guard when they're tricked into saying yes. And so oftentimes these people are not trained to be leaders. And you have people even who are managers in their day-to-day life. They manage many paid employees. And the difference between managing a paid employee who's desperate to continue getting paid versus a volunteer who will easily tell you where you can stick your orders, it's two different things. And so we don't train our team leaders or our battalion coordinators to be leaders of volunteers. And it's even worse when they come in thinking that they can just boss people around.
And that's one of the reasons why we're having this session tonight, to give you an idea of the good and the bad. You gotta identify issues and problems. I think the more that we start thinking about it, we're gonna get better at it. One of the things, like I said earlier, if you're approached by a battalion coordinator or another coordinator about, hey, you should be doing this. Do what you do in regular life. Ask those questions. It's like, hey, well, maybe we can sit down to a coffee, and you can tell me about it. What does it entail? How long does it entail? Everything like that. You guys should ask those questions. For us, we should all be offering up those answers to those questions. We should actually offer them up probably before we even have that extended discussion. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get out of that mindset, because I got to tell you, as Patrick said, you're active, and there you are. It makes you a leader. And I've realized that when people are active, sometimes they just enjoy coming out, learning about medical, learning about search and rescue, doing cribbing. I've had people over the years tell me, who I thought might have been great battalion coordinators, say, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to be a part of the team. I don't want to necessarily lead. And that's fair. So think about that. So we're trying to change our own thinking, along with hoping that you guys will have the fortitude to ask those tough questions of us, and not be surprised when we ask you to be a battalion or a battalion coordinator, or some kind of leader. Battalion and bureau coordinators are like call-out members. We do wear the patch, the LAFD patch, and the coordinator rocker. It's a nice little coordinator rocker that goes over our CERT round patch, as we call it. The prerequisites are pretty much the same for those folks who go through call out. You are going to be background checked, because you will have access to city buildings, information, or whatever. You will also have access to the community. What do I mean by that? You will quite often find yourselves addressing the community. In what locale, one never knows. You may be in a park, or you may be at someone's private home in their backyard talking about CERT. The LAFD needs to know who you are before you get out there. So in case you have a criminal history or something like that, they can weed that out. But also, on the flip side, if you do something stupid out there, they at least know who they're going to find. So that's one thing you should keep in mind. And I believe, if I remember correctly, coordinators are also issued an LAFD ID card as well. So there you go with that. And at minimum, and here's what I had to actually ask Patrick about this, because I couldn't remember. We get a CERT binder, which kind of maps out what we do, what we're supposed to do as coordinators. If you take a look at the left side of your screen, doesn't seem like it's too bad, right? Host 4 community meetings a year. Attend the last CERT basic training class taking place in your battalion. Talk to those people, engage them. handle area outreach events. Somebody at Queen Anne Park near me is having a festival. They want to get a outreach table. Yep, I'll be there with a group of our certs to do that. And we have to attend most of our scheduled coordinator meetings. Christy, have I missed anything in the basics?
Actually, I just remembered we are supposed to attend 3 of the 4 refreshers. Of course, they haven't done 4 in a while.
Yes, and thank you for adding that.
Yeah, no, a lot of the requirements don't really apply in our post-COVID world.
Mhm.
So we as bureau coordinators sort of need to look at those requirements again and do as appropriate. But they
And
also, do you have host? Oh, you've got host, yeah.
yes, that was like the first thing I remembered. That one really easy. But on the top, this looks pretty manageable, right? Well, when you crack open the fortune cookie that is each of these plus the refreshers, you find that if you really want to do the job right, there's a little bit more to it. It just, like Patrick said, it becomes a lifestyle. Um, you can do this stuff at minimum and get by. I'm not always sure how thriving of a battalion or bureau area you would have if you just did these minimums. So we're going to kind of crack open some of these things, and I'll show you a little bit of the inside, at least the way I see it and the way I've seen my colleagues do it over the years. One of the things we do is we are liaisons to LAFD CERT, which is our LAFD CERT command, and even the general LAFD departmental command arms. We are that connection between our groups in the neighborhoods and battalions and our command, which is our command really just manages teaching the CERT class, handling CERT refreshers every quarter or whenever they do it, and doing some other outreach operations. And they do a lot of and they actually do a lot of other extracurricular things that the department asks of them, like putting on fire extinguisher trainings for groups and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't leave them a lot of time to really work and get deep into the neighborhood. So, as a battalion and bureau coordinator, we're the folks filling in the gaps on that. Some of the things that I've mapped out: updating LAFD and CERT command on the status of the program in our individual geographic areas. This is accomplished through in-person conversations, email, battalion coordinator meetings, phone calls, all that kind of stuff. We convey back to our CERT members the status of the program, along with training and educational opportunities that the department might have, especially when our refreshers are coming, and call out opportunities. We advise command of our activities and solicit their assistance with our efforts to form area teams, outreach to other stakeholders, including churches, businesses, and like foundations, and activities where their presence is requested. Sometimes we need either our CERT commander or the instructors, or sometimes we reach into LAFD and say, hey, can we have an engine company or a truck company come out there? Battalion 2 in Patrick's area, Tom Worth works a lot with Battalion 2 Command and has actually had them come to their meetings and do lectures and whatnot. So we have that interaction. And we're customer service, definitely to you guys and definitely to the department, because we're kind of that. Again, like I said, we're like that sieve. We give everybody the information on all sides. We allow the command arm of LAFD of the LAFD CERT program to outreach to our members, who number in the area of 80,000. Now, before everybody's head shoots back, or before my fellow colleagues say there aren't 80,000 members, that's just the number of people who've been trained in CERT. It doesn't mean that they're active. These numbers go all the way back, by the way, to like 1985. So I hate to say it, I think some people have moved out of the area, aged out, or died. Just saying. So And trust me, my colleagues would never let me get out of here saying that without qualifying it. But for those people like yourselves who are active, we are the outreach to you guys. We're the ones who keep you up to date and trained and everything. And I think even command would agree that between them and us, we're probably like the people who most impact your lives on a daily basis, because you're always dealing with Christy, you're always dealing with Pat Hall, you're always dealing with Patrick, you're always dealing with Jose Morataya, etc. So keep that in mind. And that's one thing we coordinators have to keep in mind as well. This is just a quick image from a meeting that I always do
Oh,
here in South Bury. What happened?
Jamie!
Yeah, well, neither one of us get him now. It's like
Jamie!
he got taken. But this is an image of a meeting that I do quarterly, and I even did it quarterly during COVID. This is our Operation South Bureau's chief meeting. In fact, I just did the meeting last week, last Thursday. But even during COVID, I was meeting with those folks. And in this particular image, you also see the battalion chiefs from battalions 6, 13, and 18, including our EMS 18 captain over there. I'm giving them, they've given me a few minutes of time to give them updates on what's going on with CERT. I'm really happy to say that with Operation South Bureau, we have had a very good long-running relationship with the command office, and so they're always open to us, and they're always helping us out at our drills and everything like that. But I think a lot of it has to do with me keeping them updated. Christy, you have a similar relationship, right, with OVB?
Yeah, Chief Richmond, before he retired, wanted to meet with me monthly. And so we did a lot of one-on-one meetings. And he was such an ally to the Valley Bureau CERT teams. He actually, before he retired, made sure to find budget money to support the refresher that we had in the Valley. So, I mean, he was a really good partner. Chief Hing is still finding his footing. So we've only met twice. But CERT is known at the very highest echelons of the LA Fire Department, LA City Fire. They know who we are. They know us by name. I just saw Chief Crowley, I don't know, a few days ago. My whole timeline's crazy. Oh, at the Hollywood Christmas Parade. And she said, "Hi, Christy," from her perch up on the fire engine. So we're known, and they want to meet with us. So it's great to have that connection. But yeah. And this is the captain's meeting, right? Is that what this is? Or the
No,
chief's meeting?
this is the
big chief with the little chiefs.
This is the bureau chiefs along with the battalion chiefs.
Okay, and I don't know if everyone understands what that is. If you want to explain, you've got the big chief, and then you've got the other chiefs that rotate.
Sure, I'll take a quick run at it. You've got at the very top of the LAFD organization, you have what they used to call many years ago the chief engineer and general manager, but it's the fire chief, Kristen Crowley. In the organizational chart, go down a little bit, and you've got 4 bureau chiefs. One for South Bureau, which up until December 3rd, which was a few days ago, was Jamie Moore, who is seen here. In Operation West Bureau, it was Chief Richard Fields, I believe. In Operation Valley Bureau, it's Chief Hing. And in Central Bureau, what's your guy's name again, who I just forgot his name, even though he's been there 900 years?
Chief Legal.
Chief Legal. So they run each of the 4 bureaus, the South Bureau, Central Bureau, West Bureau, and Valley Bureau. And then below those chiefs are your battalions, Battalion 18, 6, and 13 here in South Bureau, and everywhere else around the city, including the 5 that Christy has out in the Valley. And then down below that, you have your station teams. You have your fire stations. And if you notice, our design our bureau coordinator design is pretty much the same as the fire department. We were created in their mirror since they did create this program. So that's what you got. Now, usually your battalion coordinators, they have that regular communication with each of the area battalion chiefs. And like I said, like Tom Worth works with Battalion 2 and Jose Morataya works with Battalion 4, everything. We have that relationship, and that's how we make some things happen here. So those are relationships you guys as coordinators should have.
And we can help bridge that gap. Like we can make those introductions, but it's just, it's important for each of the battalion coordinators to know their battalion relationships, their structure. And it's laid out really easy, and we can help you get to know your individual areas.
And by the way, folks, do a little research. You can find on the LAFD.org website, you can find the organizational structure. You can find the organizational structure, and it's got a few more things in there that'll make your eyes shoot out. But you can get an idea of that basic structure. And I think Christy brought up a great point. Um, understand the organizational structure of anything you become a part of, because that'll make you way more effective in reaching out for the proper resources at the proper time. And like she said, and let's make sure this point is understood through this entire presentation. Your fellow coordinators or your bureau coordinators are always there to help you. You do not have to suffer in silence over there if you do not know how to put together a meeting or an exercise or something like that. Ask. We are the link to community organizations and adjacent agencies. Presence of the people. Community and agency links. We tend to be a very regular presence at area neighborhood council meetings and activities. Several of us have either sat on neighborhood councils or are currently part of neighborhood councils, Christy. But we are presence there because neighborhood councils really help us get the word out on a wider scale. And they're very, very cooperative with these types of things. So we become a regular presence there and we speak there. In some cases, some of us give a regular state of CERT to the neighborhood council, which we are allowed to do. We're a regular presence at block club and neighborhood association meetings. That goes without saying. Some of you may have even met us through your block club and neighborhood association. We're a regular presence with adjacent agencies. Um, at their meetings, gatherings, and functions like the LAPD CPAB unit, I've forgotten CPAB. I haven't been fed, so don't hold it against me. But you all know what CPAB is, and the Los Angeles Emergency Management Department, who we talk about on a very regular basis. We try to work with them extensively with their Ready Your Los Angeles neighborhood program and whatever stuff they have for us. And we're getting that up and going, where we're actually working back and forth. So it's a very good thing. So we are present at a lot of their meetings and gatherings. Non-traditional interactions, as I call it in outreach, business and faith. We're starting to understand that businesses in our communities are just as much stakeholders as a single family home or apartment building. So we try to reach out to them. In fact, the LEEMD has a program for businesses, and CERT. I don't know if it's CERT in LA that's doing it, but I know some CERT programs are doing CERT for businesses. I think we actually do ours when we do those trainings downtown in Patrick's area, and there are a lot of those. So you're reaching out to those people as well. And we are assistance to our area CERT neighborhood personnel. If we have a member down there, like my friend Jason Leach down there in Battalion 6, he's asked me for a number of things over the years of, we're having some kind of meeting. Can you get this for us? He just let me know this week that we have an outreach event at Peck Park, and I'm in the process of getting him people and resources. So when our people have that, we make sure we get it for them. And yeah, I'm looking fast and furious up in here. Um, that is just one of the meetings that I attend. That's in our Grayburn area of Leimert Park. I'm there. The woman speaking is the LA City Attorney for that area. You have the senior lead officers, and way back there is Al Lord, who used to be part of Council District 10. All four of us are on the speaking roles. So I'm there. I was there very regularly for many years. I'm getting back into it. And I regularly present to them. And Grayburn, as many of you know, is a very important area for us here in South Bureau, because that's where we hold our Grayburn area large scale exercise every year. And they have been amazing to us. And we attend these meetings in all different kinds of neighborhoods. And Christy attends them, and Patrick attends them, and our bureau and our battalion coordinators attend them. So that's a part of the gig. Area outreach. This is big. And for those of you who sat through the recent All About Call Out, area outreach just seems to keep popping up, doesn't it? Yes, it does. And this is something that we very regularly do, one, to get more awareness of our CERT program, because you'd be amazed as to how many people don't know what it is. And Patrick is fantastic when he says, when we're at the table, we say, "Do you know what CERT is?" And Patrick will scream, "It is the Community Emergency Response Team." He's very much right, because most people don't know what CERT is, and they're a little bit shy about saying, "I have no idea of what this thing is that you're talking about." So we've actually had to try to break ourselves of that habit. But outreach is a very big thing for us. And for you call out members, I'm addressing this to the call out members, because sometimes I get a little bit of pushback from call out members who don't want to do outreach. And guess what? It's part of what you do. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. If I ever assign you to call to outreach duty, it's usually because the captain told me to. It's like the captain has said to me on many occasions, "We need all our members out there," and I'm like, "Okay, we'll make it happen." Also, those folks who could reach out to you, call out folks, are your area coordinators, like Christy, like Pat Hall, like Patrick, like Jose, and all those people. Christy, you do a lot of outreach. Give me some thoughts.
Well, we need, for every outreach, however we are assigned to do it, we need to have either someone who is a battalion coordinator or a call-out team member as the point of contact for whoever made the request. You can stuff it full of people who are recent CERT graduates and just only have their vest, like the lady in the middle of the picture and the two ladies. That's okay. But we do need to have one sworn person at each of the booths, in case something goes wrong, or to be the liaison if something happens and fire shows up or police shows up and they go, "Oh, there's a CERT booth here, they can help." So we need to have one sworn person at each of the events, and also to help coordinate it. But for the booth itself, we have another like 30, 45-minute lecture that we do, how to set up the booths and run the booths. But it's just so important to have someone out front, positive, and being like a cheerleader for the program. And my favorite people are recent CERT graduates. They're the ones that are going to be like, "I just took this great class, you should take it too." So I love to just sort of sit back and watch them take over the communication out front. I love the CERT booths. They're a lot of fun. There's usually, popcorn and swag and other booths that you can talk to. Like, I love the booths. And we do have a lot of CERT booths, so we always do need help. It is not on the actual coordinator to be at every event in their area. A lot of times, like Kevin in Battalion 17 just helped me with a booth in Battalion 14 in Toluca Lake, because it was a special request. It was a community event that the fire department was putting on. It was a barbecue. I think when I said barbecue, Kevin's like, "I'll do it." So Kevin came from 17 to 14s to help out at that booth. And it was a day where Patrick and I and Chin were doing the drill we did in the valley. So there was so much happening at once that, we just sort of helped cover for each other. I think it was Kevin and then some recent CERT graduates. So you don't always have to do every event in your area. other people will come and help.
And one thing I want to say about it too is that you remember Paul Shiley said, "Hey, step up and do some things and show that leadership attitude." When you get out there and do that outreach, it's great. It's like that's one part of that, of showing, hey, it's like I'm interested in being a part of my team and all those types of things. One thing I've come to learn is that it's good to have an experienced CERT member there because it's nice to have the newer graduates out there, but sometimes they'll give out bad information. And so, and they don't intend to do it, or it's just something that's a little off. You're there to kind of steer them back onto the tracks, because I've had to steer members back onto the track because sometimes they get so excited they will say things that are just like, what? So you want to make sure you got that. So the area outreach is so key, and that's where we sometimes need the most help. To our call out members, it's like, that's why we call you. That's why we sometimes call you, because we don't always have enough people from the rank and file to fill those spots. And so we have to ask you guys to come out, and you guys have been great. In fact, Christy, I was told this by one of our CERT call out members, who I think is on this call, but that event that Kevin worked, I heard that Ziggy Marley came by with his family, the son of the great Bob
Oh,
Marley.
I didn't know that. Well, that was
Yes.
special. I
Yeah,
know that Mr. T is a frequent visitor to Station 88 events. He was at our most recent fire service day and took pictures with everybody. He was adorable. But wow, the Marleys, very cool.
Yeah, our certain our call out member said, he was truly interested. He stayed there for a minute, had Kevin and the rest of the gang tell him what CERT was, and he truly was interested. He was
Oh
there
wow.
with his family. So you never know who's going to come by. But also one more thing I want to put out there too, with your star sightings come by. Sometimes you get cameras, you get news media out there if it's a particularly large event. Um, you know, you may be seen in the media, and that's why we sometimes say to you guys, dress right, because you want to you want to show that you are a very professional team, that you want to show that you match your skills. So keep in mind, all of those things. It's a lot of fun. And I got to tell you one more thing before I move off this slate. I have learned only recently, I don't know why it's taken me all these years, that just working an area outreach booth helps me keep my skills up to speed.
Mm.
Because the more I talk about turning off the gas, water, electric, doing hands only CPR, I'm reminding myself of those skills that if I don't talk about them much, might go flying away into the great beyond. So it's a great way for you guys to keep your skills sharp. So area outreach is big for us. Don't ignore that, and get out when you can. And it's meeting your other members as well. We are the chief programming officers. We are the CPOs. There's no CERT out there without you. We bring programming to you guys and the community. We try to take basic CERT training to the community and neighborhood level. What you get in the CERT class is it's a series of 7 classes. It gives you some skills. There are some other skills you need to actually fill that picture. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. The CERT basic class puts together a few pieces. Your continued interaction with the program puts everything else into place, and everything starts to make sense. I have had more than one CERT say to me that once they got out into an actual exercise, it put everything into perspective of what they're being asked to do together. So we try to take that CERT basic training to the community level and enhance it. We create opportunities for CERT members and the public at large to expand their knowledge base of disaster preparedness. We're more open now than ever to like working with both our CERT members and the general public at large. We engage and inform the community that CERT exists. I said earlier, there's a lot of people, a lot of firefighters, a lot of neighborhood folk, and others who are not who do not realize that CERT exists or what it does. So we're constantly doing that. For our call out team, our presence at major incidents and all that kind of stuff has really bumped up our image with the LA City Fire Department. But yet, I walked. I was at a station a couple weeks ago or something like that. No, I was actually working an event in Brentwood, and I had a battalion chief come up to me and say, "You know, I see you guys all the time at incidents. What do you guys actually do?" And I had to educate him on that. There you go. We create an infrastructure for the CERT and CERT and the community to use during times of disaster, which is basically our teams, because our teams are the people who are in that neighborhood who will be helping you out with injuries, basic fire suppression, everything you learned in the basic class. And we work on putting that together as coordinators. And we encourage our members and the community to remain consistent and vigilant in their efforts. Because sometimes if we, there's so much going on in our communities: homelessness, gentrification, crime blowing up through the roof and everything. We have a lot of barriers to fight through, so we have to consistently be out there with our message saying, hey, keep your eye on disaster preparedness as well. It's just as important as anything else we're dealing with here, and sometimes it's interlinked with a lot of those things. This is an image of one of our area exercises that we did in San Pedro. Some of us who were here, like Jason Leach and others, will remember that. It was probably on one of the rainiest days of January. This is one of the things we do on a very regular basis. Our battalion coordinators and our bureau coordinators, we set these up for the community, and the community and our members learn so much from doing these exercises, as do we. We do tabletop drills. We have all types of drills. That is one of Patrick's drills, which it's a pop-up drill we take all over the place. It's part of our NTP operations, which is another discussion in and of itself. But we bring a lot of diversified programming. And if you see, that gentleman over there is practicing his radio operations. And we also have a couple of people up there who are practicing being the staging manager and the scribe. These are skills that you do not get in the basic CERT program, but a lot of our battalion coordinators bring this stuff on the back end as part of their duties. Pat Hall over in the Valley just recently did something that was really tailored for the Valley. He showed you how to fill a sandbag. And guess what? Watching folks fill a sandbag during that storm I talked about, it was pretty scary because it amazed me as to how people didn't know how to do that. So that is a relevant skill. Sandy Caps over in 12, she just did a fire extinguisher training. You get a little bit of that in CERT Basic, but it doesn't hurt to get more of it. And there are so many things going on out there. And these are the things our battalion coordinators work and slave over for many hours and many days. And I want you to appreciate that. We also do some we also do some non-traditional, as I like to call it, educational pieces like this film shoot, which shows our John Gilbert, who's an Emmy Award-winning editor. We have a lot of great people among our ranks. He's shooting a piece with our Carl Ginsberg. This piece is showing what basic personal preparedness looks like. And it's a very good piece that we have used, and it is also posted to our LAFD CERT Continuing Education channel on YouTube. So we do a lot of stuff here, and it's nice to be able to sit here and show you the diversity of what we're doing all the time. We are facilitators of basic CERT training classes and related activities. Recently, And it's been a little bit of there's been a little bit of debate among us coordinators, but one of the things we've taken a little bit more of a of ownership with is helping to set up these CERT classes. You know, Christy does it, and she has a number of different locations that she can call upon that will host a CERT class, and it really helps. Let me tell you, the reason why I kind of like this is because what happens is any group, any CERT group, a church, not CERT group, but any group like a church group or even a business, because I can tell you about one, and I'll tell you about that in a second, can look at the CERT website and the basic requirements for a CERT class is, you know, guarantee 20 people show up. Let's do the math on that. Let's say you get that perfect 20. I can guarantee you by class 2, it'll be down to 15. By class 6, might be 12 to 10. And, you know, by class 7, it's like you're graduating a very small group of folks. What one of the things Patrick kind of does, and it's kind of rubbed off on all of us, I think, is he looks for locations that can hold larger populations, like let's say 75 to 100 or more. And we will actually put that out, say, hey, we got 100 seats, which means we'll get about maybe 50 people, if not more, and then we'll have about 35 towards the end. Patrick, you kind of want to talk about that?
Absolutely. The way that the CERT classes are, and all of you have probably gone through this, are signed up for is through Eventbrite. And Eventbrite will have a slated number of seats, and it's typically not what the venue can hold, but what the scheduler was told is the capacity. And they say, oh, we can hold 20 people because that's the minimum, even though the venue can hold 50 or 100. And so they'll slate the Eventbrite for 20 people, and then 20 people will show up, and we see consistently about a 50% no-show rate. So you have 20 people sign up because that's what they were told is the capacity, and 10 people show up because, you know, Monday night at 6:30 when the class is scheduled for, someone's like, I've got other things I can do. I'll attend this later. And you have people who wanted to take the class, but they went to the Eventbrite and it said the class was full. And so they couldn't sign up for it, and therefore they're not going to the class when there were plenty of seats open. Now you have a venue that can host 100 people, and you set the Eventbrite for 100, and then 100 people sign up and 50 people show up. It's still a good class. But if you select the schedule for 20 people and 10 people show up, that class is not anywhere near what it should be or could have been. So that's why I always try and shoot big. And we actually had one venue that had 300 people sign up for the class. And it turned out the first class started Game 7 of the World Series, where the Los Angeles Dodgers were playing against a certain Texan team, and we still had 150 people show up to that first class, which was amazing.
And it really is. And I can tell you a quick story about a class that just went completely off the rails. It was pre-COVID, and I didn't even know about this class until one of the instructors called me, kind of looking for a little help. A job creation firm over in Baldwin Hills had signed up to host a class. Well, they had a little conference room of, like, you can only get 15 people in this conference room. And I had this instructor calling me saying, you know, it's like, could you kind of get a few more people in there? Well, you know, there was not a lot of magic I could work on that, because one, it was already into the class, and it was like a daytime class, which was even worse. Um, that class on the very night it graduated in Baldwin Hills was 3 people. It was 3 people. The poor instructor was ready to throw himself out of a window, but unfortunately he was in a 1-story building, so he couldn't even get that. Um, so that's why we kind of like either being able to help, steer these groups, because with that particular group, just for an example, if they had kind of worked with us, we might have actually taken them out of their office, which had the little bitty conference room, and we might have sent them about 2/10 of a mile east to Kaiser, which has a beautiful conference room, which houses 100 people. This was pre-COVID. And had they brought us in earlier, had they brought me in earlier, I would have said, "Hey, lose the conference room, use the room at Kaiser. We can make that happen." So we kind of like doing that because these classes like 4 and 5 people, it's just kind of weird and kind of crazy. But we have over time, at least many of us have got a network of places that we can use, including some fire station community rooms. So we're helping to facilitate that. And of course, on the last night of the class, one of us is there. One of us is there to like say, "Hey, here's what's next in CERT for you." Because you folks, as you probably know, you have to sign up again. The city will not share the information of who's in those classes with us. You have to opt in on your own. So we're there to talk about that as well. Talk about all the opportunities, get to know you, put a face on CERT. You folks are definitely the face of CERT. So and it really works for a lot of folks. We get a lot more engagement because they see that we exist. Some of our members actually hang around um, almost all nights. I think Patrick is one of those folks who will do his darndest to at least be there at a class during its entire run.
I
So, and
usually try and get the class set up and coordinate with the venue, coordinate with the scheduler, make it happen, because there's been way too many times where we say, "Oh, just go to the Google form on the website and sign up," and then nothing happens and that class never materializes. But if I'm actively seeking out the venue and involved in every step of the way, and then I become the face of the volunteer side of things, because it's the firefighters class, of course, but then I get to know the people at the venue. And um I've only had one instructor who kind of gave me kind of any kind of resistance, but usually the firefighter instructors are very appreciative of having one of us there throughout the course of the class, just to make sure things go smoothly.
and I will say that our instructors, for the most part, will look at us and ask our expertise. They'll say, "Well, how do you guys do it in CERT?" They know how they do it as first responders, but how do you guys do it in CERT? So they will allow us to use our expertise of doing it, as we do in the neighborhood. So this is one of the most important things we do. Christy, I want to make sure I get you in there because you do a lot of these as well.
Yeah, I kind of do it like Patrick does, where I show up for the first few classes, and if I can get to all of them, I go to all of them. But, you know, sometimes there's neighborhood council meeting or public safety committee meetings. So I miss a few, but I'm definitely there as often as I can for the Sherman Oaks and the Van Nuys and the Encino classes. But it's important to get to know the instructors. They'll get comfortable with how you speak at the end. They may even ask you to help present material. They may ask you to help assist when they do the hands-on. Like, it's a nice partnership.
It really is. It really is. And these are partnerships that our battalion and bureau coordinators should definitely have, because that allows us to reach out and become a bigger part of things, as you're hearing here. So that's it's a big thing. CERT basic training. We are present. We are the face of CERT, and we are getting a chance to really put ourselves out there as the face of, hey, this is what you can be. So just a thought there, folks. And as we talked, the CERT refresher. everybody here should be familiar with a CERT refresher. As we said earlier, pre-COVID, we had them every quarter, and they used to rotate around the bureaus. They used to start in Valley, Central, South, West, etc. Since we've come back from COVID, it's been just kind of rotating between Frank Hotchkiss Center and Central Bureau and Fire Station 88 in the Valley. And Fire Station 88 in the Valley is a fabulous spot to have it because you have all of those little buildings back there and you can really build things out. I know that they're looking at maybe getting back to rotating. And even when I was at my meeting last week with Operation South Bureau, we were talking about alternative locations to the location we had, which was Peck Park down in the harbor. Great park, but everybody thought it was like at the end of the planet. So if you drove down there, your car might fall off the side, and so not a lot of people came. So we're looking at some alternative locations. But you as a battalion and bureau coordinator, you are always at these events helping out. I think we do include some of our call out people too, but for the most part, our bureau and battalion coordinators help out. And if I remember correctly, at least with this last one, they had some of our people talk about the skills that they use out in these type of different drills and situations and stuff they would use in the real situation if it were to ever happen. We also coordinate a lot of events in our areas. A lot of that coordination you'll see will probably be in conjunction with the call out team, especially because again, we have a lot of the call out team come out because we do need the staffing. We want to transition that back to getting our rank and file members out. We should at the very least have like one call out or coordinator type out there and have our rank and file members out there. Again, this is how you learn to work these different events. But we will have you out there. And I had a great chance to have members out this year at 2023's Fire Service Day. This is an image from 2019. And most of the people in this picture went on to be call out or whatever it is, but some are still our rank and file members. So you are part of those events as well. And like Christy said, you're not always going to have a coordinator out there. So sometimes you will have a call out member directing the operations and overseeing the operations. This is the good part. I like talking about the intangibles. We're mentors and development specialists. And this is where it all kind of comes together. And you folks who make up our audience tonight, again, many of you are just regular rank and file members. Some of you are call out members, and so on. We're always kind of looking to see who's going to replace us, because I got a news flash for you. Christy, Carl, Patrick, myself, the battalion coordinators, we may not be here forever, and Patrick can definitely tell you stories about people who he had looking at leadership level and who just had to fall out. We've had battalion and bureau coordinators have to leave for different reasons. So even though we intend on being here for a long time, we're always looking to the future and trying to see, who we've got in our group who can really step up to the plate and handle things. And that's why a few of you are here tonight, by the way. We encourage team formation on the neighborhood level. It's a great way of finding out who's got those great leadership skills while putting together something that we actually need to do on that neighborhood level. We create opportunities for our CERT members to elevate if that's what they want to do. And that gives us a better idea of who we should be targeting, by the way. We begin the identification process of future potential CERT coordinators. And that is a good thing. If for my colleagues over here, we've all been in the place of where, suddenly you get a note from so and so saying I'm leaving the gig. I have to go and There you go. I like the idea, and I've always been able to do it, at least for my group, of just being able to look and say, you know what, that person would be a really good person to take their place. And I will usually go have that conversation, like this conversation, with them. When needed, we can find out if a candidate is willing to take on this task. Like I said, having that discussion. And once we're done, we'll let command know of our recommendations. Very similar to what we do with the call out team. And that's why we say the call out team members need to come from an active CERT background, because we submit all those names to command. So the days of just like, waltzing in there are over. So, and they should be, because again, we're trying to find top tier members who can really lead this team for a good long time and into the future. My own story, which I'll give you a little piece of, is started in 2014. That is actually a picture of me at my very first CERT event. It was a CERT outreach at Marvin Avenue Middle School here in Mid-City. I had graduated the CERT class probably a couple months prior, and I had signed up on Larry's list. Larry, by the way, Christy, I know you know Larry from way back in the day. To this day, and he's been gone almost 10 years, I still get people who ask, "Where's Larry?" And it's not an affront to me, not at all. It's a testament to how great he was doing what he did. And Larry Bogatz, I signed up as part of the Battalion 18 team, and he started calling me, started working all these kind of events and stuff. And gradually, I look back, and as I look back, as I was creating this presentation, I look back over time, and he started giving me a little bit more stuff and different stuff, not just routine stuff. He had gotten to a point where he had me kind of just sitting in for him. I would go to different events, um, do different inspections. I would come out to the valley. I came out to the valley to look at Lake Balboa's, their cache, their giant cache in those cargo containers. Larry sent me out there to do that. And then, in late, I want to say in late 2014 or whatever it was, I got a call from Larry, and he says, "Would you mind dropping by my house one day?" And I dropped by his house, and he said, I sat down in front of his desk. And it is important for you to know that over this time, he was sharing all the information with me about what a coordinator does, departmental structure of the LAFD and CERT. And I had already done my own research on that, so I was schooled, and I was coming to a lot of his own neighborhood drills and just watching. I wanted to see how they did a drill. And so he called me one day, and I sat down and I said, "Well, what's going on, Larry?" And Larry got to know you on a really deep level. He and his wife and my better half and myself, we had dinner with them. We had dinner with them and knew them very well, had come to know them very well. So he pops on me when I'm sitting there. He says, "I want you to become the Battalion 18 coordinator. Would you be willing to do it?" Well, I looked at him for a second, and I tugged down on the bottom of my shirt like Captain Picard does on Star Trek. And I looked at him with a big old smile, and I said, "Are you out of your mind? There's got to be 19 other people who can do this job better than I can." And he looked at me and he explained to me why. And everything he mentioned made sense, including the fact that he had been kind of knowing his own situation, delegating a lot of stuff to me. Yes, there were a lot of other people out there with great skill. Again, they can crib, they can do medical, it's like they could run circles around me at that time, and sometimes even now. But when it came to the leadership aspect, he leadership administration, because it is a lot of administration what we do. You've seen that tonight in this presentation. Um, that he chose me for this job, and I accepted it, and I've been here ever since. I started out as Battalion 18, and then I was Bureau. I have been South Bureau since that time. So again, and another reason, a lot of the other people who were very good at it didn't want to do it. Again, they said something like, I just want to be a leader in my own community. I don't want to have to deal with administration and captains and, all that political stuff. And they didn't want to do it. So that's kind of my own story. And I do enjoy this position a great deal, which is why I've been here this long. So in the end, and this comes from a boss I worked for at CBS in my first 12 years of being in the industry. She always said that the position I was in at that time, it's as much or as little as you make of it. And that applies here. As a bureau and battalion coordinator in particular, it's as much or as little as you make of it. And I feel that, like Patrick said, it becomes a lifestyle for you, and you're always going to strive for more. What we've endeavored to do on this night is to give you an idea of what's out there and what lies ahead so you make the best decision for yourself. And, I've had a number of people say no to me to be coordinators over the years, and they've had great reasons. But I want to make sure that through this presentation, you are able to say yes and say, yes, I understand. I am of sound mind and body, and I want to take this on because it really is a great position. And I think my colleagues, Christy and Patrick, will definitely agree on that. Thank you, guys. And our next presentation, which I want to do which I will intend to do in January, is just what being a CERT member means, a general CERT member. So that is coming up in January, and we'll see everybody then. I am actually going to stop sharing because now I'm going to open it up to 24 people sneaked in here. Love it. I'm going to open it up.
I want to dovetail on that last statement that you made,
What did
Jen,
I say?
and I want to call out Jose. You said that being a coordinator, or the position is as much or as little as you make it. And we've had a lot of coordinators over the last since I've been in, and it very much is that. We have some coordinators who have done the bare minimum. We've had some coordinators who've done less than the bare minimum. They've not even done their 4 quarterly meetings. But Jose has really stepped up when he moved into West Bureau and became the prospective Battalion 4 coordinator and then finally confirmed. And he's really run with it. He's set up all sorts of trainings. He most recently there was a radio training, Jose?
Yeah, I included ACS in it.
Mhm.
So that was one of the things that I've been striving for, is to get more involved with ACS and have them teach the class, which should be that way. But
Yeah.
it was a
And
good class.
it wasn't Carl telling you do this. It was you who said, I'm gonna do this. You came up with the idea and you found and you got support to do it. But you weren't relying on anyone else to make it happen. You said, this is what we're gonna do and this is how we're gonna do it. And you brought in the people to do it. And you've done that time and time again over the last several years. First aid training, you found community leaders, worked with them to foster ideas and bring them to fruition. So very much so, if you are a coordinator and you don't want to do anything, then nothing gets done. But if you're a coordinator or even just a regular team leader, you say,
Yeah.
I have this idea, I want to make it happen, and you make it happen, that's all it takes.
And let me give kind of a proper backstory to Jose coming into Battalion 4. He had moved into the battalion from he was over here in 18, strangely enough. And he told me at some point, he's like, I'm moving. It's like my family and I are getting a place over in Westchester. And hey, that was definitely a loss to me, but a gain to Carl in West Bureau, because Jose inherited Battalion 4, and Battalion 4, up to the point where he got there, had not had a coordinator for over 2 years. It might have been just a little bit longer than that. So Jose met with the previous battalion coordinator, and he had gotten like a really sketchy list or really tiny list of contacts and whatnot. And really, what the previous coordinator told him is that you're just going to have to rebuild this area from the ground up. And Jose did that. He was the ultimate in what we call a self starter. He did rely upon Carl, and where appropriate or where whatever, he relied on the rest of us. And up to this point, he's got, it may not be the most active area, not, like massively, throngs of people, but he's got people active in an area where everybody told him. It's like, oh, you just can't do it. Jose, have I got your story kind of right there?
Yeah, the previous coordinator wasn't too encouraging. He told me good luck. There's a lot of senior citizens there. They're not going to participate. A lot of younger people for the LMU, that kind of thing. But I was used to Battalion 18, which is very active. Radio check-ins, that kind of stuff every day, where I sent emails out from the email list that Carl gave me, from Gmail, and there was not a soul out there that wanted to participate. And I just kept pounding them with information, and I got on Facebook and I created a whole new Battalion 4 page, because the page that was created, I don't know who created it, but we couldn't do anything in it. It was locked up and we couldn't post anything. We couldn't delete anything. So I just went from the ground up and created the whole new page. And it's still going strong right now, my page anyways. And I did Nextdoor as well. I got some response from Nextdoor, and some people said, well, we haven't had CERT here in a few years. I was a CERT graduate 10 years ago and I haven't done anything, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, my real good start was Venice, because when I came into the role, there was NTP there. So I stepped into that and I didn't have a clue what that was. Well, I did, as a participant, but not as a leader, but getting to know those guys, Annika kind of cornered me, says, so what do you do? I said, oh, Jesus. She cornered me. She doesn't take a backseat to anybody, and she told me, so you're going to be a good coordinator and participate? I said, of course. I'm getting to know the role. I said, give me a chance and I'll get there, and sure enough, now I communicate with him regularly. Westchester is kind of up and down. I have a couple of guys that are regular participants with me. They're always at outreach with me. Del Rey is another group that those guys are pretty awesome. So little groups that are starting to form are great. So it's going to take some more time. Probably I'll have to retire eventually, and somebody else will have to take over. So, but
Nope.
no, it's a
soon.
good group.
Nope.
No, not quite.
Nope.
Not quite.
I think
Carl won't let me. Carl will come and get me.
We all would, Jose.
I think one of the most
Thank you for
important
that.
things that you can do as a CERT coordinator are find prospective team leaders, because we can't build the teams ourselves. It's too daunting a task. It's impossible of a task. But if we can foster people, set up classes, go to the classes, start talking to people, see who steps up as a natural leader inside the class. And that's why it's important to attend all 7 classes, not just class 7. You see who's going to step up, and then you talk about the needs of the team leader. And one thing that I like to do is hold their hand. I don't expect someone who's going to step up as a team leader to know what to do, but it's a partnership. I'm partnering with them, they're partnering with me, and together we're building the team around that team leader. And I think that's a good way to do it. Of course, first job of the team leader is to find a second team leader because it's still impossible a task to do by
Yeah.
yourself.
You know, Jose is such a great example because he really got dumped into a battalion that just, you know, it's just throw up the papers and say, okay, where do I start? But again, an incredible self-starter. And many of our battalion coordinators find they have to be self-starters. And I want to go back and say that I do agree with Patrick. And that's why I put that little line in there, because my boss was saying, "Don't be mediocre. Don't be mediocre." And we don't want mediocre here either. We want you to really. That's why we're educating you and saying, "Hey, we want to have you come in, but here's what it is." And in some cases, these are the things you might be doing, and you have to be ready to take that on. And dealing with dealing with areas like what Jose had, and it's a continuing journey for him. You have to break out everything to make it work, and he's doing it. So he's one of our extraordinary people out there. And I always joke with Carl, and I joke with Jose too. I like to scream, "You're fired! Go away!" And then, because usually he usually says something when I'm saying something, when I'm doing one of my great closings or whatever, and then I scream, "You're fired." But I know that none of us want Jose to go away. He's one of those great exceptions when it comes to
I
being
haven't said
a.
anything tonight, so don't get me going.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me.
No,
So
but one of the things for any prospective leaders here, you have to be persistent, and you have to step into roles that you're not accustomed to. Like myself, I have never dealt with neighborhood councils in my life, and I stepped into Venice and Westchester. I've even stepped into negative ones like Mar Vista, which doesn't like CERT very much. They don't believe in CERT, so you have to be persistent, even more persistent with them. They have another group, I'm not going to mention names, in that area, which is kind of brainwashed them, give me money, I'll make you experts kind of thing, but
we're doing deprogramming on that.
yeah, trying very hard. As a matter of fact,
So
I'm doing an outreach next Saturday. There's a block party in Mar Vista that Carl wants me to handle. So,
good.
well, that kind of stuff. It's just little things that add up to a lot. You start small and you keep going. The first thing I did when I came up here is try to contact people. Somebody reached out to me and says, "Hey, you know anything about two-way radios?" I said, "Sure." And three of us met at a parking lot on Westchester and Sepulveda and tested radio distance. How far can it go? That was the first thing. It was pretty exciting to me because that's the first response I ever got. When I became a coordinator, and I was just an interim because it was COVID.
Mhm.
So it wasn't official. So, but I kept trying. And I have some prospective leaders here that don't want to commit because they have full-time jobs, they have kids, they're soccer coaches, whatever, baseball, and I understand that. We've all have families, and we have kids, whatever, and you have to commit to that. That's your family. Family comes first, so I understand that. And then once in a while they'll pop back up and tell me, "Hey, what are you doing lately?" Well, okay, haven't you got my emails? Because I still keep them in the loop, but it's a challenging job. You have to step in it with guns blaring. You
Eh,
can't sit back.
and you know what? I don't want to put out a message there that makes it sounds like, oh, this is impossible and this is too big. You can do this. You have our support. You have your fellow coordinators support. It's feel free to ask. And by the way, if you come into this, you're not expected to build Rome overnight and all that kind of stuff. We've talked a great deal, but we know that this stuff takes time. If you're willing to take the time and just put a little love into it, um, you know, you can make it work. So you just have to have the will and the want to do that. So we are at 8:42 on the clock. Not bad. Are there any questions from those of us who are here? If so, raise your
I have a
hand or
question.
something like that, and
I
let
have
us
a
know.
question.
Oh, I have to go, so I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here, and thank you, Chin, for hosting. And
And
we're
Christy,
around if you have any questions after this.
and Christy, I agree with Vince Nababao. Go eat.
I'm hungry. Bye.
Go eat. I'm gonna do that after I'm done here. That's why I'm trying to get everybody out of here. So
Hey, Johnny Gursky's got a question.
I see Johnny. Come on up, my brother.
Unmute yourself, buddy.
Johnny?
Here we
You
go.
there, Johnny? There you go. No, you had it. Try it again.
Johnny?
What?
Uh,
Can you hear me now?
We got a fragment of you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
We got you.
All right. I want to thank all you guys. Jose and Patrick and Tom, all you guys for doing what you guys are doing. And there's one thing I've got to say. Like I graduated in 2019, and recently we had some classes in Rose Hill. We had a Spanish and an English class, and that's when I met Jose, because this Spanish class was very interesting. And the only reason I'm saying it's very interesting because a lot of people don't speak Spanish. And it's hard to communicate. The first thing I was saying to myself is how are we going to communicate with somebody that doesn't know English and putting them on the radio? And it came to my attention that they're not going to put them on the radio. And the next thing I want to say is, where do I sign up? Because I've been through since 2019, even with the virus, through all these classes, some of these activities, I tried to make some of them. We had some at Lincoln, I think it was Lincoln Park. We had a big activity, and I think Tom was there, and Frank was there, and I was there, and there was another person there. But we all represented CERT. We went out there. It was a good event. I've been through a couple of events, a lot of good events, even right here in El Sereno, and I think I want to sign up for this coordinator. I know it's going to be a good job. I got to tell you, I was in the military 12 years, so I got potential. And like Jose says, he doesn't like dealing with the neighborhood council. Apparently, I had 6 years of neighborhood council, and officially, I have no longer nothing to do with neighborhood council. So now I'm going to devote all my time to CERT, and I want to become a coordinator. So where do I sign up and where do I start?
Have a conversation with your area coordinators. You are over in Central Bureau. So that guy who I'm pointing at, Mr. Patrick, wherever you are, I have to point to you on this side.
I see him, and I already
reach out to him.
I already talked to Tom. I talked to Tom. He said he's going to sign me up, and I've already did what I had to do to prove that I could do it.
Okay.
And now that I have more time on my hands, I'm retired. So, all I have, to tell you the truth, all I have time is for my wife. But at the same time, I need to get out of the house. I mean, not get out of the house, but I need to be more involved.
Well, it's like you know what?
When you're ready, when you guys are ready, let me know. And I'll do. I know what it takes to do it, the qualifications and all that. I'm pretty sure I'm very high qualified with a 12-year military background. And we got to start someplace. We all got to start. But like I said, that Spanish class was very important to me. That because how are we going to coordinate? Just like I'm not saying just Spanish with Orientals too, because we have a lot of CERT from Orientals too, and they all communicate with each other. So I understand how are we going to communicate? Well, it becomes up to the team leaders and the coordinators to get everybody together to work with them people for they can make communications. And then once you got your team leaders or your scribe and all that, they can work with them, and the other people, they can translate it, and they could do all that work and then send it to command. So whenever you're ready, I know, Patrick, I've been waiting this for a long time. And I seen your last class of what it takes, the qualifications, and if you got to get involved, I'm very involved. I've been very involved. You know, I this year I went through some medical problems, but I'm up and ready to go. So
It's like, well, we'll work through
thank all
that
you guys and
process.
thank everybody for being here, because this is very good for the people that want to come up and do and try to make a better team. Because I was speaking to Tom, I had a conversation with, I think it was yesterday or today. He said,
Mhm.
how do we gotta, he was asking me, because we got all these programs going on and people don't show up. How are we gonna work on getting more people involved? And I said to myself, we're gonna work on it. Because, you
And-
know, I was trained, and if I get into this this coordinating thing, I want to become a recruiter and try to recruit and get more people involved. You know,
All
it's
right.
you know, it's a good thing to do. I mean, half of the people are retired, and half of people, you know, they might say, quote, we're old, but we're not old. We look old, but we're not old, if you know what I mean. We still got potentials. We still have things we have to do in life. And that's what I want to do. I'm retired. I don't want to sit here by myself at home. I got things I could do. I'm very involved in the community still, even though I'm not
Good.
living at the council, you know.
Have that conversation
And I
with
got
Patrick and
all
that
the
group
pull.
over
I got
there.
all the pull from right here in Battalion 2, you know,
Mhm.
with Station 47. You know,
Mhm.
we're doing what we can over here. You know, we had some nice classes. That's when I met Jose, and he was right there, and we had some pretty good classes, and that class was very important to me. You know, so thank
Absolutely.
all you guys for being here, and hopefully sometime down the line, you keep me informed and let me know where I can start. I'm pretty
And one-
sure
You
I got the potential to do it.
One thing
You
I
got it,
recommend
Johnny.
is that we start people out as neighborhood team leaders. Start building your
Yes,
neighborhood
but
team.
hold on. I you know, I don't want to get into an argument with you or nothing, but the neighborhood team program and the CERT is two different things. Quote me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay. All right. You know what?
So what I recommend is that you start building your neighborhood team. Start putting
Why do
on
I have to
events
do
like
why do I have to start a neighborhood team program when I'm already in CERT? In order to get in the neighborhood team program, you have to be on CERT, and you're gonna have to change neighborhood team program. I don't want to be training neighborhood team programs. I want to do it for CERT. There's a difference. See, you
I'm
brought
going to
this in.
say,
I'm not
I'm
trying to
gonna s-
argue. I'm not trying, but you brought this
hold on.
in. All right, go ahead. I'm gonna rest my case.
I'm going to say, you guys, let's have that discussion offline, and then we can, it's like it's easier to figure out the differences and similarities
There
and
is a
stuff.
big difference.
There is, but
There is a lot of difference. If you guys know, you guys are coordinators, you guys should know this.
Mhm.
There is a lot of difference. And don't take me wrong, and don't let me
Mhm.
don't okay, that's fine.
No.
We'll discuss it. Well, you know what? When you have a chance,
Mhm.
let me talk to you.
We'll reach out to you,
All right,
guaranteed.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny and
You're very
Geraldine.
welcome. I'm just trying my best. I'm not trying to get mad at nobody or starting nothing, but that's a whole different situation.
Nah,
Hey,
we can make this work.
Johnny, can you give somebody else an opportunity? Somebody's got their hands up.
Sure. Okay, okay.
And Geraldine.
Hi everyone. And Johnny, I love your passion, and I think the seniors definitely need a leader. So, amen. So my question is, thank you first of all, Chin and Patrick, again, and also Christy, she's off, but for your leadership and hosting this. But my
It's
question
recorded.
is, oh, okay. My question is, what typically is the time commitment for coordinators? I mean, truly, I know you said that you can make it your own, but I know, like I've expressed interest for Battalion 10. I know Christy had identified someone, but maybe to help support. And my role, my wheelhouse is in like event management. I work for LA Unified, and I really want to focus on youth. And I think I talked to you, Patrick, about that. So and I have there's, a lot of people on this call and everyone else who's interested, just balancing that life work balance, but we're super passionate about that. I know Merlin and I were like, yeah, let's see if we could, how do we collaborate, right? So is there like in each battalion, just one or two, or could that be three, or maybe have subcommittees, or is that up to each of the
That's why I was
bureau
suggesting that
coordinators.
you start as a team leader, because you can start small. Being a coordinator, a battalion coordinator, you've got, say, Battalion 2 is 650,000 people or so, versus your local neighborhood. We can help you start putting on events and trainings at the local level, start building you up where you're dealing with, maybe 5, 6, 10, 20 people, and start really getting an intimate knowledge of what it is to build a CERT team at that neighborhood level. And then those skills directly translate and grow. And there's a lot of incident command and FEMA courses that will recommend that you take as you step up and take on that larger responsibility as a battalion coordinator.
And you can really find out, I think, through that. I am in agreement with that you can really ease into it. You can ease into that position and find out what your great sweet spot is. To get back to your original question, which is what is the time commitment on it? I can't really tell you that. It's like Patrick spends a different amount of time than maybe even I do, or maybe even Christy. And the battalion coordinators, it can be very different. So there really isn't an answer as to what's a firm time. Do you spend 12
Yeah, like
hours a day or
in
whatever it
your
is?
experience, maybe your personal experience, because I know everyone's different. Like in a course of a month, you're putting in 20 hours, in a month or more. I mean, honestly, that's why, I mean, I know when I've sat on a lot of boards, like through schools and such. I'm working full time, working 2 full-time jobs, one paid and one not, So I just wanted to be like, just transparent. I wanted to see if you could be transparent and, because I know how we all like are on the same mindset. We're like, yeah, we're passionate about everything.
I'm going to go out on this limb. And saw it off right behind me, and I'll let Patrick come behind me. It got described to me that basically CERT was my second job. I would work all day at CBS, do that company's work, and which I loved in 33 years with the company. And then like at 5 o'clock, or even during breaks and lunch, I'd shoot out emails. And I learned over the years just to simply say, you know what? When I roll out of bed in the morning, it's CBS, and before I go to bed at night, it's CERT. Patrick, what about you? I've already sawed the limb off behind me. You can't go much farther.
It is, I don't recommend anyone become a battalion coordinator, take it lightly. And that's why I advocate for the team leader position first, because it is, as Chin Slide said, it's as much or as little as you want to make it. And to jump right into the, I now have 2 full-time jobs, one paid, unpaid, it can be overwhelming, and it's not for everybody. And while I did it, um, I don't know if I've ruined my life because of it.
Okay. Can I just ask a question here? I think what it is that we're trying to find out, Geraldine and myself, is that if it can be the battalion coordinator job actually can be a shared job. So basically, and I know from what Patrick is saying, and also from Christy and also you, Chin, and everything, that it's actually a very intensive sort of position. I mean,
yes.
Even though you might be working CBS during the day, at night time you're doing CERT, and it becomes very, very, and just what I've actually, from the information that we've had, it's a lot. So what we're trying to figure out is that, because like obviously Geraldine works, I've got things on, and I know that there is someone that's interested, from what Chrissy was saying, in the Battalion 10 coordinate position. Is that, as can we sort of like 3 of us work together to, like be, in a sense, help that, main coordinator. So in a sense, sharing that position, meetings together, have, as you say, well, I guess it's the meeting, coordinating, things that need to be done from what you've sort of stated in the information session and things like that.
And I think to answer your question, which is a critical one, yes, there can be more than one battalion coordinator in an area. In most areas, we have generally 2. I know over in Ben Goldfarb's area of 5, they have 3. They have Bob and all that. So yeah, it can definitely be more than a one-person job. Ben, I'll hold you for the back. Patrick, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was saying that Battalion 5 has 3 coordinators.
Yeah.
But like I said, when the team leader, in regards to team leader, your first job as a team leader, in my opinion, is to find a second team leader, because it's an impossible thing to do by yourself.
Yeah.
Battalion coordinators is so much work that 1 is not the ideal number.
No.
2, 3. I think at one point, 1 battalion even had 4 coordinators. I don't know that they stayed that way, but being able to partner with somebody and work well, and when Tom and I were Battalion 2 coordinators, we covered a lot for each other. If he couldn't attend something, I would, or vice versa, or we would go together. And it was the recommended, it's recommended that you always have a partner.
Well, like just from the information that you've actually just, like stated in this, session, it is a lot for one person. And kudos to the people like Christy and you, Patrick, and you, Chin, and all of those who have, been able to do it on your own. And I know that you have other people, but there is always the leader, as the saying goes. So that, it's overwhelming to sort of, be able to sort of think that we all can sort of be that person that sort of takes it over. So that's why I think that, if we're able to get a group, like 3 of us together that can work really well together, then I think that that would be a really, positive thing, especially for Battalion 10, which I know that, Christy has been dealing with, and also the other battalions as well. And it's been a while, since they've ever had someone, since they've had someone to be able to, come in and everything. But, as the saying goes, we've all got busy lives, as it says. And, for one person to be able to do it feasibly is
It's
this
difficult.
day and age, it's actually not possible.
Yeah, it's difficult on a good day, and it's just, impossible on other days. But, again, I don't want to scare anybody here and say, and, have their eyes rolling back in their head saying, oh, this is impossible, I don't want to do that. You can do that. Again, we can do it that way, and that's what we as coordinators are here for. We're here to help, support you, make your lives easy, and come up with the best combinations as best we can. So I want to grab Ben Goldfarb over there, because he is from one of our areas where they do have 3 coordinators over there, and I just generally want to hear what he's got to say. He hasn't said anything the entire evening. How you doing, Ben?
Well, thank you, Chin and Patrick, Christina, you've checked out, but I just want to call out this question about commitment and time and such. Here you have Chin, Patrick, and Christy. They're bureau coordinators, which is a level above battalion coordinators, and they're also really special leaders in our CERT volunteer organization. They were recognized by the Chief Christie this year as chiefs also, because of their commitment and time that they put into the program. So they're sort of on an extreme. I'm a battalion coordinator. I work with 2 other battalion coordinators. And in terms of time commitment for us common people, not quite at the level of work, it is a little bit of a commitment. I'd say paperwork and such, emails and things, at least an hour to 2 hours a day. It just, maybe not 5-7 days a week, but 4 to 5 days a week. There's just things come in and you need to attend to them, reasonably promptly and such. So it is an hour to 2 hours of emails a day. And then, there are these meetings that will happen, the Zoom meetings in the evening. And that's depending on how many you participate in, 1 or 2, 1 a week or every other week or so. And then the activities and Chin and Patrick touched on the activities, the community activities, attending the neighborhood council meetings, other if there are call out activities, remember call out. So that's, it could be 1 to 2 days a month also of commitment. So it takes a partnership. I say partnership with my other half, my wife, because I'm also retired, but it does take some time, and you have to be prepared to commit that time. I wouldn't say it's quite at the level of Patrick and Chin though, and Christy, but as a battalion coordinator, you prepare to commit some time every week.
But again, it is what you want to put into it, and
yeah,
we do talk about self-care, and if you can say, hey, I can give 1 hour a day, or I can do 2 hours 3 days a week, but the rest of the week it's my time, then you set the limit for yourself and make your boundaries understood, and hopefully we won't impinge on those, but no promises.
If I could just add, and I apologize, can I just interrupt you, Chin, one more time? With and I did 40 years in the corporate world as an executive, and that was a great career and such, but I never felt the brotherhood and sisterhood and support that I feel in the CERT organization with that a little bit of time I commit. Every time I go out and participate or do something, it's so rewarding, and it's such a great camaraderie that's part of it. It's hard to describe the reward that accompanies this commitment. Sorry to interrupt you.
I agree. But I want to say this to everybody, that like Patrick said, if you can devote 1 or 2 hours or whatever it is, if you can make those the most quality 1 or 2 hours that you devote, it could equal somebody else's like 7 or 8 hours where they don't get nearly as much done. If you can, and guess what? And I'm saying that because I know coordinators who devote far less time to it, but what they do give is extreme quality, and that's a difference. And if you can do that, I would, and there are people who I have looked at as coordinators who I knew couldn't give a whole lot of time, but I knew the quality of what they gave me, and I said, yeah, you go ahead with that. It sometimes it doesn't mean if you give 8 hours a night or whatever it is to all this stuff that you're gonna you're the world's greatest. So don't ever count yourself out on that. And again, like I said, we always have those conversations and everything like that. So, but for Patrick and I, we're two weird extremes. It's like he's the only person I'll call after midnight, any time of the week, and I know he won't yell at me, because
just decline the call.
You're up. What?
Just decline the call.
Whatever.
Chin's sending emails at 3 a.m. too. That's a good one.
Now, wait a minute. Stop pulling out all my skeletons here, guys. But the call out, he knows that.
I get up at 6 a.m. and I got 3 emails from you. Give me a break. I'm going like,
I can't
okay.
make fun of him because he's responding to ones that I've sent him at 2:58. So
see, there you go. Another one.
Okay, I've been completely outed here. Let's take some more questions, if there are any. We're a little bit above the hour, but we're having a good discussion here. Are there any other questions, comments, or editorials? As I think everybody's wanted me to say at least once tonight.
Could I say something just one more time?
Yes, sir, Johnny.
If I disrespected anybody and if I made you mad, I didn't mean it. That was not my intent. I'm just looking forward to becoming a coordinator, and if it is what it is, if not, I'm still going to be here. So if I disrespected anybody and if anybody thinks how could I say this? If I disrespected you, or if you took offense to what I said, I didn't mean it like that. I just want to make sure that what I get into is what I'm getting into. Thank you very much, and thank you all coordinators. You did a very good job. Thank you very much.
And I don't think anyone's offended, Johnny. We're putting these on because we didn't have the opportunity to have these before we signed up, and didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And so it's a lot of lessons learned and best practices that we've developed to help you be successful, because we don't want you to be in a position where you're having to reinvent the wheel with no support from the top, bottom, left, or right, and feel like you're on your own. So we want you
I
to
hear what you're saying. I understand that. Coming from a military perspective, you got to start from the bottom. You got to work your way up. It's not easy, you know? So thank you. Like I say, thank you all guys very much.
And thank you, Johnny. And thank you, Johnny, my brother. It's like, keep that spirit and we'll make some stuff happen. So looking at everybody, it's a little bit after the hour. So I think we're gonna call it. I want to thank everybody here who came. It's like again, like I say at the end of all these, and I said it at the top, but I'll say it again. Thank you guys for the privilege of your time. There's God knows you guys could be anywhere else but hearing us yakking all night, but you guys actually care. You guys actually want to make a difference, and you guys want to learn. It's again, don't walk away from this saying, "Wow, that's just overwhelming." Um, it can be done on so many levels, it's like, but our obligation to you is to lay it out for you, is to say, hey, here's what it is. Because what we don't want you to do is get in that role. And then a few months later, it's like, I just can't do it. We want you to come in with eyes open. And that's what these things are for. That's what All About Call Out was for. That's what All About Being a Coordinator is for. And we'll talk extensively in January about what it's like just to be a member. That one will be fun because we can talk about the opportunities for rank and file members like call out and coordinating and just being a part of the team. So everybody, with that being said, happy holidays. You will not have to deal with these, at least this seminar from me, until after the first of the year, so we can get our drink on and have some spiked eggnog and all that kind of stuff. Although if you're doing it, do it out of uniform. Thank you.
Yeah.
That one was for the captain. But have a great night, everybody, and we hope you got something out of it. Reach out to us. Reach out to Christy, reach out to myself, reach out to Patrick, reach out to Carl, reach out to some of the fellow coordinators that you saw here tonight and others, and ask these critical questions. Until that time, everybody, you all have a great night.
I do want to invite everybody to the third Wednesday of the month continuing education training that will be hosted on Zoom. I'm going to post that in the chat right now. That's December 20th at 7 p.m.
Isn't that that's the email that we got? Okay. That's on Eventbrite too, right, Patrick?
Yes, there's an Eventbrite, but
Yeah.
Eventbrite has made it so that you can only have up to 25 tickets available for free. So I'm linking to the Zoom directly for that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you messed up my closing again.
Hey, you're
Holy
trying to rush
heck.
everybody out of here late as usual.
Excuse me, I'm plus or minus 5 on any given day. It's the questions that take time. Whatever. Like I said, let's get out of here. You've ruined my close.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Have a good